everybody? It's the Boomer Boys here. We're back with another episode. I think this is episode 3. We're going to be talking a lot about SEC Media Day.
There we go.
Along with a lot of our takes on it and some of the confidence that we have in this team. And so without further ado, let's get right into the video. Wow, it feels good to be back. It feels like football is almost here, dude.
It's close.
It's
winding down.
So crazy. Now, SEC had its media day. We had EPL. We had Taylor Wine, and then we had John Mateer go. And of course, there was all the other teams. Let's talk about what you had. Some takeaways that you've had.
Yeah,
from the media day.
I thought it was a great media day. I thought they did a great job. I thought the people they picked were phenomenal. I thought John, of course, your quarterback always representing you at SEC Media Day is always a big plus to have. There's a lot of quarterbacks that did. I think there's only 8 SEC quarterbacks that went. So I think having John there representing the Sooners was a great thing. And then the local homeboy, EPL coming, what a big reward that was. There was multiple sections where he's talking about how emotional he was. He just broke down in his car crying when he found out he was going to SEC Media Day. I think that's a very big privilege and a very good testimony to EPL and all the work he's put in and how much trust he has in the coaches and the coaches have in him. So I think that's a big thing. But one of the big things that I've noticed and then I noticed in SEC Media takeaway from Venables, BV has stopped talking about the building process that he's doing. It's not so much we are building this. He's not right. We are here. We're in the time where we expect all this stuff. The past few years it's been in interviews, it's been the building the culture, what's the standard going to be like, how we expect these guys to perform, trusting the process,
I think that's a big thing for me as well, we are here to win. Like, we're not playing for bowl games. We're not playing, to go to the SEC championship. We're going to win the SEC championship. BB talked multiple times about actually bringing the guys, and we've got a complete team around our quarterback here.
Oh, it does.
We're not losing this stuff. We've got a complete team. We deserve to win this. We deserve to be here. We deserve to be in this conversation with you.
And we'll touch on this early on. The SEC polls came out on when did they come out?
SEC Media or whatever?
Media, they came out. We got picked to finish 7th.
7th is crazy. I think Ole Miss was 3 that we talked about. He texted me. It was like Ole Miss was at 3.
Yeah, they went Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, A&M, and then it goes down.
Kentucky had a vote to win the championship. I'm sorry, Cole Waymeyer. Take that vote back, dude.
I think we had 2, and it's like, but it just kind of goes off of.
LSU. There's really my big deal is. At least right in my talking point, nobody's talking about us.
No.
Nobody's talking about us.
No.
And that seriously is dangerous.
It's
dangerous.
It is.
One of the key things that I came out with is nobody respects this defense. Nobody respects this defense, and the numbers that they put out, nobody really seemed to mention what had happened, last year, that turnaround that we had. And nobody also seemed to mention that we've got 2 top 15 picks that should be on that D line.
Yeah, and no one made SEC preseason first team on the defense. I think Tate Sandell and Ben Anderson were on the specialists. Hey, shout out Ben Anderson and Tate Sandell, all the guys that reposted our stuff. It's pretty awesome to see. But just kind of we didn't have anybody on the defense or offense make preseason first team or second. It's what do we like? How is David Stone, Jaden Jackson, Peyton Bowen, Cortland, none of them on the defense side even got Kip Owen.
Gilroy, why is he not on that?
I think
the freshman season he had, and I can understand the quarterback position. After last year, I can understand running back. Fasusi was second team.
Was he?
Fasusi was second team, but. It's just a testimony, and I think it's really bulletin board material for these guys.
100%.
I think it really is. The disrespect that we've shown. Texas really dominated headlines.
Yes.
Georgia really dominated headlines. I think even some of the stuff, nobody's talking about us, and in fact, Steve Sarkisian is talking bad about us.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Man.
You want to say what he said?
You look at the comments Sark made. He's talking about Parker Livingston coming to Oklahoma, and he's like, I'm gonna give him a hug after the game, but we're there to whoop his butt, or Blaine. He
Yeah,
ain't saying
we're
but,
there
he's
with
saying
this,
Blaine.
but, yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like then you see BV talking about Gentry going to Georgia, and he's like, dude,
Loves
I love.
family.
He's like,
Loves
I
family.
love that kid. He's speaking very highly of Gentry, and I think that speaks volume to the person BV is and the coach BV is. You know, and the world that you live in college football, I mean, you're going to lose guys left and right. That's
Yeah.
just how it is. You know, and there's people that have bad taste in their mouths. I mean, like Sark. I mean,
I don't even think that the Sark, what he said was that. Like, I don't think that's what was bad. I think his comment about losing players to get great ones,
Yeah.
about talking about Cam Coleman and that offensive staff, like if losing Parker means we get Parker, I'll take that any day of the week.
yes, and that's
I'll
the
take
thing.
that any day of the week.
And you know, and I mean, and we Oklahoma fans can be the same way. You know, we go to war for our guys. You know, you're backing them up on Twitter,
Yeah.
the Twitter demons, and but like we go to war with them. And, you know, Texas fans did the same thing with Parker. They're like, oh, this guy's Mr. Reliable. He can do this, and then when he hits the portal, it's like,
be great.
yeah, and then he hits the portal, it's like this guy had brick hands. He's not anything, and it's like it's just like, and don't get us wrong. OU fans probably do the same thing. I did it when Jackson transferred. It was like, I'm gonna go to war for Jackson. He transferred. It's like, oh, Jackson sucks. You know, we'll whoop him week 4. But like, but I think that's just like that, and I think that's a great testimony. Like BV, he will not put a former player down. He
I think
is going to
that's
support
really,
them, and not saying he's not going to go try to whoop them. You know, I think that's every intention to a coach to go whoop a team. You know, but I don't think one player specifically gets called out like that. And
I don't think so, and I don't think that that's what you should say. I mean, Parker just made a Twitter post, and I got fired up. I got fired up because I think that this kid is going to be a star.
yeah, well, he has a chip on his shoulder.
I mean, especially with this and stuff like that. If you watch his film breakdown over the last year, he was making plays. I mean, I remember watching that Ohio State game, the first game, that diving catch deal. I mean, he's just stud. He's a stud, and he's got studs around him. And so, I mean, I think that brings right into our second and third points, a piece is, pressure has really shifted to the players.
Yeah.
I wanted to say, I think that's a big point for me, as like going throughout this, really, realistically, we got the new OC.
Yep.
Brent Venables, and shout out Kirby was talking about how Brent Venables is one of the best defensive minds.
Yeah.
I think he said about Gentry, anybody who comes from Brent Venables' defense knows the game.
Yeah, and that is a testimony to the coaching staff in BV, and I think multiple coaches shouted BV out like that. Like he is a known, and not even in the SEC, just the nationwide. He's the defensive guru. He's the mastermind of defense. Yeah. If you line up every defensive coordinator or head coach, someone that calls a defense in collegiate football, if you line them up, BV is a top 3 pick, if not 1. That's what people respect him. That's what he's known for. And he's brought that back to Oklahoma. So like what you're saying, we built the roster. You got all the pieces you need on the roster.
And the coaching staff, this is the first year since Levy that we've retained an offensive coordinator, And I feel like Arbuckle is just going to get better from here.
Yeah.
I seriously think it is. We found the quarterback. We have the quarterback a year to, learn. This is SEC. This isn't Washington State,
And I think the promising thing about that too, and it's kind of leading into my point, is like everything rides on John and Ben Arbuckle.
I think so.
I'm not saying that in a bad way. Like if we stink, it's just because of those two. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying everything rides on them on the offense side of the ball because this is John's 3rd year in Ben Arbuckle's system. He had 1 year at Wazoo, and this is his 2nd year going into OU. So I think it's like OU finally has like a proven foundation.
That's the word. That's the word.
And I think that's what is going to be big, because, first year OCs, especially in the SEC, Ben Arbuckle's a young offense coordinator. I can't imagine, Tate, my brother's an OC at the high school. I can't even imagine calling an offense against a 5A high school team, let alone going into a SEC, into Neyland at night, into Bama. So, it's a promising sign because he has 1 year under his belt. John this is his 3rd year in the system. And then just everyone around him, even the coaches around him. Everyone knows the system that's in place. Everyone knows the foundation of the offense, what our schemes are going to be about. John's an experienced quarterback, and it's an offense built around the quarterback.
No, you couldn't have said it more, And I think the key things that we did this offseason is we went out there and got Jason Witten. That's a big headline itself. If you hear these guys and how they're talking about Witten, I mean, this guy is an NFL legend and one of the greatest tight ends of the game.
Yeah.
For him to go there, John made a comment about how he was like, dude, I thought I loved football until Win came, you know? And we got the guys. We got the staff, you know?
Yeah.
We got McCullough, who is a proven running back developer, who's a proven guy who's going to go and lead these running backs to where they need. So that all the pressure isn't on the staff. The staff, you know, we've got a good staff. It really resides on number 10.
Yeah.
And number 10 plays like we know he can.
You look at early September. I mean, before the thumb injury, he was front runner of the Heisman. You know, think of the Michigan game. Everyone's like, "Oh, he's back. We got the guy. We got our offense back." You know, and that was before the defense has really proven themselves. Like it's just early in the year, and it's like, okay, we got our guy. 10 is the guy that's going to go. If you have 10 behind center on Saturday, you have a chance of winning any ball game. And I think
so.
And I think that's something that we talk about. It's like John's leadership. Everyone in that locker room respects John. There's not one, and we don't know the people inside the locker room, but just, you know, he oozes confidence. He oozes leadership. And like you watch JD Pickle, I watched his podcast earlier today. He had a sit-down conversation with John, you know, podcast. And JD was like, it's not that he wasn't confident last year. It's just you see, like, his demeanor has changed from year one to year two. He's different. And I think that's something to have. Like, you cannot have a timid quarterback playing in the SEC. And I saw John was making comments. He was like, you just don't have time to read defenses. It's the SEC. And everyone's playing was like, oh, John can't read defense. I'm like, you can't tell me there ain't one quarterback in the SEC that knows how to read, especially a Brent Venables defense or Kirby Smart defense.
They throw so much at him, you know. I think what I really love about John is he took the time. Like, this offseason wasn't an offseason. First of all, he had fun.
Yep.
He had a lot of fun, and it felt like he was relaxed. And number two, he was putting in work, you know. John spent the summer, you know, learning under Sam Bradford, you know, studying film with Sam Bradford, studying film with Brent Venables. And so he has transformed his game. Not only that, but he's yoked, he's jacked, you know. His confidence is huge, you know. And, you know, it's last year, John, we saw a quieter John, you know, and one of the quotes that stuck out to me when Ben Arbuckle told and took the OU job was he wants his quarterback to be the best in the room. He wants his quarterback to have the most confidence. And I feel like under Ben Arbuckle this year, his quarterback has the most confidence. His quarterback is shining out. He's leading. I'm sold. I'm sold. I'm excited. I think a lot of pressure goes on him, though.
Oh, it does. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think John wants that. You know, as a quarterback, he wants to have that. He wants to be the guy that everyone looks to whenever adversity hits, when your backs are against the wall. Who's going to be the guy that flips the switch? I think John is built for that, and I think he wants that. And I think that's a great tool to have as a SEC quarterback.
I think realistically, there's a lot of pressure just from the fact of like who we went and got in the portal. Like, I mean, you have Trell Harris, who was a proven deep threat at Virginia, one of those guys who can go around the middle of the field and make some plays happen. You know, paired up with Centania, you know, and it feels like those guys are just hitting it off with their leadership. I feel like Centania, you know, I'm hearing things about Centania's leadership and things like that, you know, and then not only that, then you went and got Parker Livingstone, who was the #1 deep threat for Texas. You know, they can say all they want, but we know what they were saying midseason. This kid is a star. This kid is a star. That was a loss. They were not happy about him leaving, you know, and I want to preface, this guy is going to be a stud. You know, Mateer has people around him. I mean, with X, Torrey Blaylock, Avant, all these guys.
And then just the offensive line is rebuilt. I think the offensive line is, you know, it's year 200 offensive line. You know, it was a question mark last year, and it's still a question mark now. But I think it's more. There's a foundation to this offensive line. If we can find ways to run the football, you know, because teams are sitting too high safety against us, you know, because I mean, last year you just couldn't run the ball. I mean, that's proven set. You know, that's what they did. They just sat back too high. You know, if teams have to respect the run game now, drop people into the box, just leave one high safety, it's just going to open up everything for John.
I think McCullough is going to have a lot of pressure on him too. You know, the new running back coach. Where did he? Well, Vegas, right?
Yeah, he came from the Raiders.
Yeah.
You know, was at Notre Dame for a while.
I think he's going to have a lot of pressure because, I mean, if we can't run outside zones, if we can't run inside the gap, I mean, we have the players. We have the athletes, you know. We got to make sure that we're hitting goal, we're hitting the hole, and we're making a play. Yeah. We're making a play, we're hitting the hole, you know, and I think a lot goes on Witten, but I think Witten loves it.
Yeah,
you know?
I think the tight end is
Hayden Hansen.
Rocky Beers.
I think Rocky Beers. A lot of people aren't talking about the kid from Tennessee.
Jack. I don't. His last name's kind of.
He might be the best blocker.
Yeah, he is huge.
Tight end.
He's huge.
Yeah.
I think later on this episode we're going to talk about position groups we're most excited for. We're going to do the defense side, but I think tight end on our next episode, tight end room is going to be massive. It's going to get brought up just because it's revamped and it's awesome. But I think we can kind of go on to topic 3 of our last bulletin points on SEC Media Day. The SEC is wide open. I truly do think the SEC is wide open. You look at the whole SEC, you look up from bottom to top. Texas lost a lot of talent, but we talked about this last episode. Texas is always gonna rebuild talent roster.
Texas has one thing, and that is a lot of money.
They're gonna go get the Cam Coleman's. You're gonna have the Hollywood Smothers. They're gonna get a good transfer portal class all the time. And it's just me, just a Texas hater. Their coach, they always find ways to underperform with the talent they have.
Yeah.
And I think so. That's why I don't always bank on Texas being up there. They're gonna finish in the top 7 to 5. I'm not saying that they're going to be in the bottom of the SEC, but they always find ways to lose. That also means Georgia has to replace key players. Alabama still has question marks. Who are they going to start at quarterback? Is their defense going to be good enough to stop teams? And I think there's just a lot of question marks around the whole SEC and whole. And and I don't know why OU's getting so much. They're just underrated. And don't get me wrong, I know my hot take last week was they were going to win the SEC, but I do think that. But I'm not saying that I would bet my life on them finishing top 3. But in the same breath, 7th is low.
I think it's pretty criminal to put Alabama in front of us.
Yes.
I mean, that game that happened, Alabama beat us, but OU beat ourselves.
We dominated that game.
We dominated in every single statistical category.
Yes.
Dominated that game. Besides John Mateer's interception. That really changed the game.
And you just think Ole Miss has question marks. I know they have Trinidad and Keywan Lacey.
Yeah.
But you just think it's a whole new coaching staff, And the same thing with LSU. LSU has it's year 1. It's hard to win as a year 1 head coach. And I think that kind of goes on to this topic. There's a lot of pressure on Lane Kiffin and LSU. You look at LSU, man, we think we have a kind of a spoiled fan base, which love our fan bases to death. But Baton Rouge, if you don't win,
you're out. And there's a lot of pressure on him immediately going from that Ole Miss. I think LSU's going to be good. I don't think that they're going to go out there and beat the Bamas, the Ole Miss. I think that they'll probably lose to Ole Miss. Realistically, I don't think that they're going to go out there and just dominate year 1.
No.
Now, year 2, they might be a little scary,
right?
To get everybody under their belt, But new staff, it's going to be rocky. I don't think we don't play LSU, so I'm happy we don't play LSU this year because it's a big question mark with them. But I just think that the SEC is wide open, and that the fact that we're ranked 7th or whatever in the preseason media and stuff like that, we're proven.
Yeah.
And this O-line.
I think the O-line.
Back.
It's I was talking about one of my buddies. This could be a terrible analogy, but just going back to LSU. LSU can be like a porcupine. You might be able to get close to. Then it might stab you. They might be dangerous then, but it looks cute from afar. So I mean, but like what you're saying, with our offensive line and stuff, I think we're just
60% of the snaps are retained.
And it's just we bring back everybody. Even if they weren't just dominating last year, I still think there's a lot of people that we've brought back and a lot of pieces we've added, and I just don't see that around the SEC. I didn't see Ole Miss, and I'm not on Ole Miss Twitter board. I just don't see them bringing in the guys that they lost.
I really don't, and I think that's the same. With LSU, they're bringing in a good staff. But I just don't understand how. I think they
felt bad for all. They want Ole Miss to be good, which I want Ole Miss to be good, just the way Lane left them.
I mean, I think we beat them.
I do.
I mean, A&M. I don't know if A&M was above us or not.
A&M was 4, I think.
A&M was 4
with Mike Elko, because it went Georgia, Texas,
what?
Ole Miss, A&M, LSU, Alabama, us.
I will take our offense versus their offense.
I don't think Mike Elko's a phenomenal head. I think he's done a great job at A&M from when he started.
One good year, and it's just I don't know.
They just don't know how to fit. They don't know how to fish. You look at the Miami game in the college football playoff. You look at the Texas game, week 12. I don't think they perform well when the lights are bright. And they can make me eat those words next year, and they might go out and whip us. But I'm just saying, like, you just look statistically, A&M is not.
They lost. What did they lose last year? Notre Dame? No, they
only lost to Texas and Miami.
Texas and Miami.
Yeah.
They got dominated against Texas.
They did.
Dominated versus Miami.
You know,
you can't put the ball in the end zone. I mean, but we say the same thing about us in, in Texas.
Oh, 100%.
So, I mean, no shade there, but I will say, I feel like the people that we're retaining, you know, and it could just be me drinking a lot of Kool-Aid. You know, we say that.
I'm with you on it, though.
The Kool-Aid. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
Drink it.
You know,
Drink it.
You know, I'm all in on this team. You know, but I trust this team. This is the first time I felt like this since. I haven't felt this way since Kyler. No, Jalen.
Yeah.
I haven't felt this way since Jalen.
I kind of felt this way when Caleb kind of took over in the Lincoln offense and stuff. Yeah. I thought that was a phenomenal team, but I'm not saying I'm way more confident in this team. Like kind of backing
I'm confident in this team more so than I feel like it's the most complete team that we've had in the 2010s.
Oh, 100%.
I mean, like the 2020s.
I'd say 2020s, yeah.
2020s.
You know,
you got some good teams in the 2010s.
Oh, you did. 2010s. 2010s, that run was awesome. But I think this can kind of bounce us on to like what we're excited for. You know, we're drinking the Kool-Aid. I think this can kind of bounce us to like what position group are we most excited for on the defense side of the ball that we're most confident in, you know? What do you have, like what position group are you like, okay, I trust this group?
So, I mean, realistically, I love it when our defense goes out there. But, you know, I feel like I agree with you on this one, our linebacker core. Our linebacker core is the truth. I think it is the truth. I think that our linebacker core is more underrated.
Yeah.
Like for reasons I don't know. Like, these guys just don't get any love. No. You know? And I mean, even our defensive line, you know, like we said before, I feel like our front seven, you know, I'll say our front seven. That's the position group I have the most confident in. I mean, you've got David Stone, Jaden Jackson that are coming back that are, you know, freshman All-American, you know, preseason second team, you know, this year for Stone, you know. And this guy is projected to go number one defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You know, I think that paired with leadership from Owen Heineke, you know, having Owen Heineke is really key, you know. Yeah. And I know that you have the stats, Rowan.
Yeah, you know, you look at Owen, you know, actually Owen Heineke ended my high school football career. He bit us in the second round of the playoffs my senior year at Bishop Kelly. Man, he was a monster, you know. But anyway, Owen's going to be our green dot guy, you know. He's going to be the quarterback of our defense. You know, he's going to be the leader out there. So, like last year, Owen played 13 games. You know, he had 74 total tackles, which was second.
Hurt.
Yes.
Half the season.
You look at that big old club he had on his hand, you know. But like,
legs, dude.
He's second on the team in tackles. You know, he had 34 solo tackles, 40 assisted, you know, 12 tackle for loss and 5 sacks. You know, he averaged 5 tackles a game, which that doesn't just blow the doors off of statistics, but like that's solid. If you're averaging close to 6 tackles a game at middle linebacker in the SEC, it's pretty freaking good, you know. And like we're saying, like this guy is just like he's exciting to watch. He's not going to be the flashy guy that's going to go sideline to sideline and chase you down. He's not just the most freak athlete in the world. You know, that's what Kip is, our sideline to sideline linebacker, which he's phenomenal.
You've got a brain, and Owen Heineke is our brain.
Yeah, you know, he calls the defense. You know, he gets everyone lined up. Like what we're saying, he's the quarterback on our team, on our defense. You know, and he's physical against the run. He is a great person having the box. That's just like a mule in the middle of the field.
And anytime that we send him on blitz, it seems like he always gets.
He's slippery.
I mean, that Tennessee game had some really phenomenal plays. The Michigan game had really phenomenal plays.
Yeah.
I mean, he was just all around, you know, a stud, you know, playing through injuries and stuff like that. You know, he's like a more calm guy.
Yeah.
And then you look across, you know, at the stadium, you know, every huddle. Kip is just doing something insane all the time.
He's a Tasmanian devil.
He's just over there like dancing and stuff like that, you know, away from the huddle. You know, you got to have that.
He brings the juice. Shout out Claude Williams. He brings the juice at Tahlequah. He brings the juice, you know, and that's what you want to have, you know. It's like, it makes me feel like a little fat kid in the grocery store eating candy. Like, I'm just happy. I see Kip on the side, like, dude, I love watching this guy. You know, you see him in kickoff. He's coming over, shooting sections.
If anybody's watching to this point, please clip that.
But he's just
send it to us in our DMs.
He's just he's so fun to watch. You know, you look at his stats. 76 total tackles. He led the team in tackles. You know, he's got 10.5 tackles for loss. That is awesome. And you got 5 quarterback hurries, 1 forced fumble, 4 sacks.
He's the truth.
Like he does everything. Kip is the guy. He is. When we retained Kip, that was the biggest win of the offseason, I think, in my opinion. You got Kip and Owen back. Those are your 2 guys, your 2 like pillars of your defense. Like, okay, we got guys at middle linebacker and our linebacker core that just build off of.
I will say we did lose a couple good pieces, within the linebacking core that really, really kind of just like.
I'm upset Sammy left. I love Sammy Osanigo. I thought he was an incredible linebacker.
Really
I thought he played very well on the outside. He played a great position out there. I'm upset that he left. I was very shocked Kobe McKenzie left.
I thought to Northwestern too.
I think it's just
shout out Kobe. Congratulations him and Kenzie Hansen got married and now having a baby.
Yeah,
I think that's awesome. OU legend. So we're not gonna.
Yeah, we were sad to see him go, but best of luck to him. I think he's going to be the guy, like their guy at Northwestern, and you don't blame the guy.
Almost went to
UCLA. And like that's the thing. We love to play those guys, so we can love on them. You wish them the best of luck. I think they just want more snaps, and I mean, rightfully so. Their last year playing college football, you want to go have snaps.
Is that a concern for you, the linebacking depth?
No, I don't, because you brought it. Like you just look. we're talking about Owen and Kip. But we went and got out Cole Sullivan, and I think Cole's going to be the X factor of this defense. A lot of people that aren't talking about Cole. Cole was a massive win. You think when he left Michigan was trying everything in their willpower to keep Cole because he was such a valuable piece, and I think his ceiling is so high.
He's huge.
He's massive.
He's huge.
And this isn't even with Summer Smitty yet. He was 6'2", 230 coming in to the season last year. So he's a massive frame. He can play Mike or he can play our Will. He can do everything. So he just gives OU another valuable depth piece. I'm not saying he's going to go out there and start snap 1 of week 1 or SEC play, but he's going to bring you so much depth. And I think that's something that's awesome with BV. You don't have solidified players. You're not just Kip and Owen aren't going to be the only ones going to take snaps. Yeah. You see them rotating every series or in every 2 series, and I think that's an awesome piece to have, and I think it's something that you have to have at the SEC level is depth, and I think Cole brings a phenomenal piece to that.
I think talking about the D-line, I think one name that we kind of got shocked about, that we were talking about this morning, was PJ.
Yes.
PJ is a former 5-star, what was he from Kansas City, I believe?
Yeah.
Kansas City. But we're hearing that he's just completely transformed everything, and he's a player that we know he can be, And so Taylor Ryan had really good high praise over the weekend or over the week from him regarding him, and you said something about
Wyatt Gilmore has had a ton of praise of that one too.
Ton of praise.
I think he is a name. I think that on the interior line or even at end rushing, I think he's going to cause chaos. He's going to be he's going to be that person that can come in and just cause havoc for us with Danny Okoye. And then another person that is getting a ton of praise is our incoming freshman Jeremiah Newcomb. And I don't necessarily think he's going to be a linebacker. He might play the cheetah a little bit. He's more of a DB. He's only 5'9", about 200. But I could easily see him. BV loves the cheetah position. That's where he played Isaiah Simmons at Clemson. Just a guy that can do everything. He can come. Fill in the box if needed. He can come play in the box. He can go cover someone in the flats or someone over the top of the field. So I think that's someone that that's going to be another valuable asset to the linebacker core.
I think so too. I think that'll be good. And I'm excited about this. I feel like they have the experience. I just think that a lot of people are doubting them. I think that it'll fuel them, and I think that I'm confident when they are on the field, And so, like the defensive side of the ball, I think that linebacking core really will stick out a lot. Now, offensively, I know that we were just talking about defense, a lot of defense. But since the media just happened, we just talked a lot about John Mateer. I think it's time that we start gaining a lot of confidence in John. And John, he's got the people around him and the staff around him. Like we said before, I think that my confidence resides in John Mateer on that offense.
100, and I think a lot of the fans in Norman I think everyone does. There some people hate on John, some people bash John. Deep down, we don't want anyone else at quarterbacks besides number 10. Yeah. Realistically, he is an Oklahoma guy. You could say, well, he transferred in here. Like, this university means so much to him. It would have been so easy for John to hit the portal after last year.
And 100%.
It would have been so easy.
He was when he committed. He's been a long time OU fan.
Yeah.
And I think he's a guy that came in, and I think that he just doesn't. His numbers weren't great. You know, he threw 3 interceptions in 19 days after having a thumb surgery.
Yeah,
and
throwing the ball with 4 fingers. You know, you look at this previous year at Wazoo, he led the nation in touchdowns. So, like, when we got John, he was the most sought-out quarterback in that portal class whenever he came. You know, he had Miami throwing money at him. He had North Carolina throwing money at him, you know. I think that speaks volume to his trust and belief into Arbuckle.
I think something that needs to happen, and you know, and he mentioned this, was he needs to stop taking so many hits. He needs to get down, you know. I think that him stay on his feet, you know, or sliding when he needs to slide. I think that'll be a game changer from this year. I think having him healthy will be a game changer, and I think that him playing, you know, a second year with the you know, no shame on the receiving core that we had last year, but this year it's just different. These guys are proven at the level that we're playing at. You know, we have a guy at from Virginia who was proven. You know, we've got a couple different really good freshmen coming up too. You know, Manning Choice, ET, who are now sophomores.
Right. But like even like J. Michael, I mean, there's a lot of guys that like we haven't even mentioned that are gonna get valuable snaps. You know, like last year,
Johnson.
Yes, like dude, like we have people, and then
Jacob Jordan.
Jacob Jordan. I was like Jacob Jordan.
I think I'm Jacoby Johnson.
But like Jacob Jordan, like hey, like the Ole Miss game 2 years ago when we went. I can't remember if it was home or away, but when like he was our main source, like he was our energy source. It was Ole Miss game.
It was Ole Miss.
And it's like, hey, it was at Ole Miss, and it's like, hey, there we go, we got Jacob Jordan involved. And I think he's going to be one of those quiet receivers. You know, he's going to be a rotational guy.
Guys just need to come in there, do their job, you know, and you know we have the talent around, you know. I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be really fun.
I'm excited, and you know, like what we keep saying, we're drinking the Kool-Aid. I think we have a lot of confidence in the world, and I think a lot of people in Norman have confidence. You know, and I do think there's people around nationwide, like J.D. Pickle loves OU. He is like, they are criminally underrated.
Yeah.
You know, with the people that they've brought back, retained, that we brought in, the coaching staff, everything that you look. I think a lot of people are underestimating Oklahoma's ability and their want. I don't know if that's just because they don't like Oklahoma. People don't want to admit that Oklahoma's good anymore. I don't know what it is. I can't tell you what their thoughts and opinions are. But the people that know Oklahoma ball are confident, and I think that's a very promising thing. You have people who believe that OU is back, I guess you could say. You know, that we're solidified, that you're solidified. Like, okay, we might have to go play the Alabamas, or we might have to go play the Michigans of the world, but they have to play Oklahoma too.
Yeah,
you know, the people see that logo on their schedule, and it's not. They're preparing for OU.
I think that's another deal that like people are underestimating us, is how hard our schedule really is. You know, but you know when you look at the other teams, Texas is saying the same thing about playing OU.
100%.
Georgia's saying the same thing. Hey, we have OU on our schedule and stuff like that. I think that's just something that's changed. You know, from this time last year, it was a little bit there. You know, and more hype was on John Mateer because he was proven at Washington State, but the defense wasn't, you know, as good.
It was just a question mark, and I think that's what, like everyone knew, like, you know, around Oklahoma athletics, you knew, like, okay, like we got the guys, we have the tools to be good. But like nationwide, there was a lot of people that just didn't know, and you know, it's the same thing as we don't know what Ole Miss is going to be like, we don't know what Tennessee is going to be like, you know, just like the generic stuff. So like I think everyone like knew it's like, okay, OU is going to be a lot better than what they have been. Just a question mark. Now it's like, okay, they have a top 5 defense in the nation. You know, their offense showed glimpse. If we just solidify a run game, I think it will open up so much.
Everything.
So I think I'm excited for it. I think it's going to be an awesome year, and we're excited for it. But I think that's going to wrap up everything. Unless you got anything else, you know, like I said, we're going to try to keep the videos at a minimum. You know,
we're trying to keep them a little shorter, you know, because you know y'all that made it this far.
You're true fans.
We're true fans. But no, y'all that made it this far, you know, it's 30 minutes. We don't want to take too much of the time. Obviously, you know, in the season, we might have a couple longer ones, of course, you know.
Of course.
Before the game and stuff like that, you know. We'll get on Spotify here soon as well. And so we're really excited, man. And, you know, from the bottom of our hearts, you know, we're really appreciative of y'all that just listen to us, you know.
Yeah. Here too, goofballs talking about Oklahoma football.
I mean, we're nerding out over here. We just love doing it, you know, and we love interacting with y'all. So if y'all have any questions or anything like that, or want to talk ball, feel free to ask us any questions, and we'll review it and bring it on the podcast.
Yeah, in this, you guys can follow. We'd love if you guys follow our Instagram. It's at the Boomer Boys. We have a Twitter, X. We'll tag it down below. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much, and we are looking forward to our episode 4. So
Yes.
here we go, Boomer.